There we go. Come on back. Yeah, look at all these prints. Oh my god. Right by her. Dude, that's right.
Skeptics suggested it could be a prank involving oversized monster shoes.
On June 7th, 2025, Kate from Kate Ventures Outdoors travels by herself to a Forest Service road in Washington's North Cascades, a remote region known for beautiful views and long-running Bigfoot reports. Her channel usually focuses on peaceful solo camping and outdoor travel, but staying alone overnight in this place brings an unease she never fully brushes aside.
It's 8:30 and it's still bright. It smells so good out here. Everywhere, it just smells like flowers. It's so nice. It's so beautiful. Gosh, I found a snake. I'm pretty sure it's a rubber boa, which is crazy because the last snake I ran into in Tahoe was a rubber boa. Ah! Hi, friend. So cute. I love snake. I was like squatting down to watch the snake and take photos, and a couple cyclists came down the mountain on the road and looked at me, and it definitely looked like I was using the bathroom. Dude, I'm like low-key freaking out. It's midnight. There's definitely something on the rocks to the right of my car. I swear. I'm not just saying this because the topic of the video is, I don't even dare say the name because I'm so freaked out right now. I'm not even gonna put this in the intro or in the title or anything because I don't want people to think I'm just doing this for attention or for the content, you know? I'm like in a freeze mode right now. It's something big because it sounds like something walking over rocks and they're kind of shuffling around as it moves, you know? I heard it once and I woke up, didn't see anything. Sat there for a while taking photos of the stars, and then I heard it again just now, and I do not feel okay. I've psyched myself out too much by looking into the lore of all of this video, and there's a big deer migration right now. I'm pretty sure it's just deer, probably, but can you see me? Sorry, you can't even see me. It's probably just deer. I don't know, man. Like, what would be? This is like freaking me out. There's definitely something here. All right, I'm gonna move campsites. I'm too freaked out by this, but oh my god, is the sky beautiful. There's so many stars.
The evening starts with a minor mistake that feels more meaningful than it should. While setting up by herself after dark, Kate cuts her hand, nothing severe, but enough to stay in her thoughts as an early reminder of how vulnerable she is out here.
It's 12:30 a.m. now. I just drove a mile down the road to another. There's a bunch of other people parked here. It's like a snow park. I don't know if my voice carries outside of the car, so I'm just being quiet just in case. That was so creepy. I'm pretty sure I just psyched myself out reading all of the Bigfoot stuff. Really creeped me out. I'm not superstitious, but I am. I don't even want to mention certain things sometimes in fear of them coming alive and like actually happening. And so when I was researching the Bigfoot lore, it was just creeping me out more and more and more. Although I say I don't believe in these things, I think my body wants to believe in them very much. The reason why I didn't just stay and assess the situation was because I kept hearing the noise, and then in order to see what was making the noise, it was something coming up the hill and like knocking rocks down the hill as it came up. Since it was past that slope, the hill that I was parked on, I wouldn't be able to see it unless I get out of the car and like look over down, you know? And it sounded close. So maybe I wouldn't even have to look over, but from my car, I couldn't see it and I was too scared to get out of the car. It's the middle of the night. I don't need that. But the thing that made me move was, you know, when you change lanes, some cars on the mirror, it'll kind of blink orange if there's a car in your blind spot, basically. And I saw the orange light come on the passenger side mirror. So that means there was something in the blind spot of my car. The second I saw that light up, I turned the car on and I just drove. Freaked me out so hard. And you know, it could have just been a deer. I could have just turned around and shined a light to look. But no, I was already in the mindset of, if anything, like if this noise gets closer or anything else happens, I'm gonna leave. That's what happened, and now I'm gonna get 2 hours of sleep and I'll see you in the morning.
Then suddenly, the blind spot monitor on the side mirror lights up. There are no vehicles, no visible people, and no clear reason, just the unsettling indication that something large is close enough to activate the sensor. Kate leaves right away.
So I just got out of the car and was looking on the right side of the car where I heard something last night, and there's this really weird mark on my car. It looks like someone took their fingers and dragged dirt on my car. The Bigfoot lore is really getting to me. crazy. I'm way overthinking this. I'm sure there's definitely a logical explanation for this, but let me show you. Like, what is this? And then this part is just from my finger where I was just like trying to see what this is. But doesn't it look like someone went like that? Anyways, I thought that was funny.
In the morning under daylight, she sees streak-like marks along the side of the car, exactly where the warning appeared the night before, making the connection between the two moments hard to dismiss. Viewers argued over whether the noises and sensor alert were caused by wildlife, a simple mistake, or something in the forest that remains unexplained. If it was just an animal, what came close enough to set off the sensor and leave marks in that exact spot? On March 27, 2025, Salish Sasquatch presents the story of Matthew Parrish, who relocated from Texas to Washington's Quinault rainforest. The channel focuses on first-hand reports and witness accounts connected to Sasquatch activity. What starts as separate events gradually becomes a pattern, forming uncomfortably close to his home.
We first lived in this house when we first moved to Washington, and around 12 to 1 o'clock in the summertime, we would smell this mild, musky smell, you know, nothing overpowering, nothing real strong, just a gamey smell would come in through this bedroom window that we had right here, or the bathroom window. And we had a box fan up in there, and it would just suck in everything. So it would just fill up the whole house. And we didn't really know what that was. We thought maybe a bear at first. And it wasn't until later on when we moved out of this house and we moved into the house next door right here where we started to really experience some activity. And it wouldn't be until my parents actually came for a visit, the second week we were in this house, is when we would realize what we were dealing with, that we weren't dealing with a bear, we were actually dealing with a Sasquatch. The house is where it happened. Yeah, we followed the tracks all the way around and came right up. They like to come right up through the woods here, and then there's a game trail right in here. This is where I give them, this is where I put all the food because it's where they come. And this is actually the rock that was used that night. It's still here. We kept it, and they haven't taken it. When my parents came to visit that night, that first night, we had cooked a bunch of seafood, gumbo, my stepmom did. Us being from the South, my wife hadn't had any kind of Cajun food or anything like that in a little bit, so she was really craving that. And so she made all this. We had all the windows open. This was the end of June. We just spent all evening out on the porch having a good time, probably till about 11 or 12 at night. And around midnight, we decided to call it quits and go inside and lay down for the evening. And so we let my parents have our bedroom, since it had a window unit in there and they could be more comfortable, you know. Me and my wife actually took my daughter's room right here, and at that time she didn't have a window unit. It was just we had to leave it open to be comfortable. And so around 2 in the morning, my wife wakes me up and she goes, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "No, I don't hear," you know. She goes, "There's something out there banging." And I said, you know, I get kind of flustered. I'm, you know, half asleep, half awake. And I was like, "Go back to sleep. You know, nothing's trying to get in the house. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. It's a rainforest full of wildlife. You know, you're going to hear stuff." And so I start to lay back down, and I heard a very sharp, clear whistle. But this was not like, it was short. It didn't like drag out. It was just a sharp, clear, short burst of a whistle. And it didn't sound like any bird. It sounded more like something a person would make, you know, kind of like at a construction site, but different, if that makes any sense. So now I'm awake. Something's got my attention, and I'm listening, and I'm trying to, you know, and I can't hear anything.
Soon after moving near the Quinault rainforest, Matthew starts noticing disturbances that seem intentional rather than accidental. At night, piercing whistles break the quiet just outside his windows, short, exact, and disturbing in how purposeful they feel. On different nights, deep guttural murmuring comes from near his children's bedroom, described as warped speech instead of animal sounds, staying long enough to be recognized before disappearing.
I come back over here, and I'm putting my items out on the table, and I can hear just something breaking the brush, and it's big, whatever it is, and it's coming up fast right here behind me. And so I spin around, and my headlamp hits it, and I just see 2 eyes looking back at me, and they kind of duck down, and I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" You know, I just started talking, and then I said some expletives under my breath, and because I was kind of shaking at the same time. and it would pop up and it would look at me, and it would have these red eyes that would reflect. It was definitely reflecting from the headlamp. It wasn't like it was, you know, I've heard people say they generate their own. This was reflecting red, and something over here started getting upset. I believe because I started hearing a bunch of brush just pop and snap and get ripped up. And this thing that I had in the headlamp would look over in that direction and then look back at me. And so as this is going on, one of the things that I noticed about it was it would be red, but as it would start to turn, it would be like almost kind of an orangish amber color. And then right when the light would hit the side of the eye, as it was looking over here, it would be a yellowish color. And then when it would come back, it would be red again. So I thought that was really odd that was happening. And then it raised up a little bit further, and this goes on for about 5 minutes. And finally I decided, okay, I need to leave, you know, I need to get back inside. And so I start to go back into the house, and it's dead silent. I don't hear anything. And when I got to the corner of the house, I looked back one last time to see if it was following, and there was a set of red eyes again right up here on the tree. How it closed that distance in that short amount of time, I don't know, you know, that without me hearing it. A friend of mine told me, who also does Bigfoot research, said that it's possible there might have been a third one that it was on that tree the whole time, and that's what you saw, and that's why you didn't hear anything. I don't know, but it was too close for my comfort. It was probably only, you know, it's like maybe 40 feet right there. So I hightailed it on back inside the house, and that was that night. That was pretty eventful for me. And I actually captured it all on video.
Where are you? Come on. A little closer. There we go. Come on back. Come on.
The feeling of separation vanishes during a late-night encounter by the tree line behind his house. From about 40 feet away, Matthew sees movement, something crouched close to the ground, then gradually standing up. As it moves, two red reflective eyes fix on him, staying visible long enough to show awareness before pulling back into the dark.
I said, you're talking about Bigfoot, right? Sasquatch. And she goes, yeah. She said, what do you know about them? And I said, well, I know that they're around here, you know, they're in the Pacific Northwest. And she goes, yeah. She goes, they come through here. She said about 2 or 3 of them, a couple times off and on throughout the year, pass through. And she's actually had stuff like tap on her windows late at night. She'd let her dog out one night, and she said that her dog was going nuts, but it wasn't scared. You know, you hear a lot of stories where the dog is scared. This dog was more aggressive. He was barking at something. She called him back in, and she said that these two things approached her bathroom window, which is right off of her bedroom, her master bathroom. And she said that one just was kind of like very dark, deep, gurgled gibberish sounding, she said, aggressive, and it was like clawing, like picking at the window screen. And so she was actually scared. She actually called the police to come out here, and they came out here and they looked around her property and everything. And you know, about 45 minutes later after they left, it comes back again. But this time there's like another one, she said, and it sounded more like panicked, you know, kind of in the like you know, she couldn't make out what they were saying. It just seemed like one was pissed off at her and one wanted the one that was pissed off to leave, you know. That's the feeling that was her perception of it. So she calls the police again, and they come back out here, and I got a video of that, of him walking around out there on our security camera. This goes on. He tells her, he said, hey, I can't keep coming back out here. I don't know what you got going on. And so she says, well, you know, that's fine. So she gets in her truck and she comes down here to where her mother lives, and she spends the night with her mother.
The activity continues. A nearby neighbor later describes a much more hostile incident. Soon after police leave the area, heavy growls sound outside a bathroom window, followed by forceful scraping against the screen, as though something is responding to the sudden lack of attention rather than being frightened away. Many viewers think these actions point to intelligence, territorial behavior, and a planned pattern rather than chance. If these encounters were deliberate, how long had something been watching from just past the trees? A recently posted photo allegedly captured in Texas has drawn attention because it shows a possible Bigfoot with unusual clarity. The creature has a Neanderthal-like face, surrounded by thick black hair, while its eyes, nose, and mouth appear sharply defined, giving it a disturbingly lifelike look. Its body is covered in dark hair, matching traditional Bigfoot descriptions. What makes the image even more unsettling is the creature staring directly into the camera with an expression suggesting intelligence and the awareness often linked to its ability to remain hidden. It raises one troubling question. How does something so large avoid being noticed? Intelligence, natural camouflage, or both? While seated in his elk blind, a hunter heard movement coming from the bushes and initially believed it was another hunter. As he stepped closer, he noticed a huge hair-covered creature and began recording. The figure seemed entirely unconcerned by him, its body coated in dark fur, something eerily similar to Bigfoot. A Reddit user shared an unsettling account from a friend's house in the Appalachian Mountains. A guest had been staying there when for 3 consecutive nights, at exactly 3 a.m., 3 knocks came from the door. Each time the dogs erupted, then everything fell into total silence until the following night. They could not lose the feeling that something was observing them. Later, the friend took a picture outside the home, and even after brightening the photo, a dark figure remained there, its shape faintly resembling a Sasquatch. This footage, recorded in Czechoslovakia in 2015, shows a man walking alone through the forest. The deeper he traveled, the more disturbing the woods felt, until an unusual cry echoed around him. It was not a howl, a bark, or a growl. But something between them, and still nothing recognizable. From the sound alone, he knew it came from something large. Instead of going back, he followed the commotion and soon discovered broken branches and massive deep footprints shaped like enlarged human feet, evidence of something extremely heavy. When the sound started moving closer, he finally chose to leave. After the footage appeared online, theories spread quickly. Some said dogman, others Bigfoot, even a man-eating troll, while skeptics argued it could be wind, though that explanation did not account for the tracks. In the end, he was fortunate to escape before meeting whatever made those sounds. A Reddit user posted a troubling photo of their dog taken on a foggy mountain in Scotland. When they looked over the picture later, something unsettling showed up in the background, an unusually large figure standing behind the dog. The image quickly triggered speculation that it might be a Sasquatch, though skeptics said such a creature would not expose itself so openly without clearer proof. Whatever the cause, the figure's identity remains unknown. A traveler driving far into the mountains of Whitefish, Montana, near his uncle's isolated property, was watching the area for wildlife such as deer or bears. He stopped after noticing what appeared to be a moose or elk hidden behind thick brush. But when it turned and looked toward him, the mood changed immediately. With local stories of the Wendigo and even Bigfoot in his thoughts, he could not ignore the feeling that something much stranger was nearby. A hiker posted several Facebook photos taken from a hilltop in Utah, showing a dense forest below and a large figure moving fast along a trail. The hiker said the figure was about 325 yards away, made no sound while moving, and this was the sharpest image he captured. Many think it may be Bigfoot because of its striking height and unusual movement, while others suggest it could be a bear or even a gorilla, though those animals are not typical there. Its speed, silence, and remote location keep the figure's identity unresolved. This sighting comes from a Reddit post shared roughly 145 days ago. At first, the footage looks harmless, just a simple recording taken after a camping trip with her boyfriend, showing their quiet campsite and the still forest surrounding them. The original video ran 6 minutes, but the user later cut it down to a brief 28-second clip. And it is inside that tiny section where everything turns disturbing. When slowed down, a dark, fast-moving figure darts across the frame from right to left. So quickly that most viewers miss it completely on the first watch. But after you see it, it becomes impossible to unsee. It does not resemble a lighting glitch, and it moves in a way no local animal should. So what did the camera actually capture that day? A glitch, a passing shadow, or something far stranger concealed near the tree line deep within the woods? Someone posted a photo online claiming they may have spotted Bigfoot while camping. At first, they thought the distant figure was a bear, but its movement did not look bear-like. It was too far away to identify clearly, so they took a picture to inspect later. When enlarged, the shape looked more like an ape, even though apes do not live in that area. Its identity stayed unclear, but Bigfoot was the first possibility that came to mind. A Reddit user posted an image captured by his uncle's trail camera in southern Louisiana, showing a Bigfoot-like shape hidden in tall grass. His uncle, a longtime Bigfoot believer who calls it a swamp squatch, said this was the first unusual thing he had ever caught. While skeptics doubt whether the photo is real, the poster says his uncle is telling the truth. At Peck Cemetery in Illinois, a location known for its unsettling history, only 2 people were present when a photo showed a large, dark figure. Neither person said they were the one captured in the image. Some believe it looks like a Sasquatch with a broad chest, long arms, and a hair-covered body. But if it was real, should they not have seen it? Could the figure have been ghostly instead? In this clip recorded in a remote, foggy area that makes the landscape look dramatic, a tall, heavily built white figure suddenly appears, immediately catching attention. Viewers have suggested many theories. Some believe it could be an albino Sasquatch, while others think it may be a camouflaged Bigfoot. But after watching closely, the shape does not truly match those ideas. It looks more like a person in a costume, possibly trying to get noticed. While going through his late grandfather's possessions, a man discovered a photograph that left him completely stunned. It showed 2 tall, hairy figures walking hand in hand through a snowy forest, almost like a Bigfoot mother and child. Behind them, 2 more dark shapes stood between the trees. The picture had no date, no location, and his grandfather had never spoken of it. Was it real Bigfoot evidence, or just people bundled in heavy winter clothes? A married couple entered the Appalachian Mountains, hoping to record the strange drones reported around the area, but their outing quickly shifted in an unexpected direction. A terrifying scream suddenly rang through the trees, loud, sharp, and disturbingly human-like. The sound left them wondering whether someone was actually in danger or if a wild animal had made an unusually human cry. Xander, a seasoned camper, set off alone for a trip deep into the forest. He built a basic tarp shelter, cooked a small steak over the flames, and spent the night resting beneath the stars while watching distant lightning. But several hours later, the mood changed without warning.
What the hell is that noise?
Faint human-like cries came from the woods, nothing like an animal or the wind. The sounds became steadily louder and closer, and by morning he packed up and left. To this day, he still does not know what was out there that night. At a national park in Washington, several tourists were walking near their cabin at night, not realizing something was watching them. From the darkness, two glowing eyes looked toward them with unsettling intensity. Strangely, the eyes did not look like those of any ordinary animal. What do you think it was? Share your thoughts in the comments. In 2018, a video appeared claiming to show the mysterious Honey Island swamp monster. The footage was reportedly captured by Harlan Ford, a retired air traffic controller deep inside the Louisiana bayou. Locals described the creature as more than 7 feet tall, covered in dark gray hair and carrying a strong, rotting smell. Its tracks are unusual, webbed like an alligator's, but shaped like a human's, before it disappears into the swamp mist, leaving only fear and speculation behind. While walking the Appalachian Trail, a woman went through something truly frightening. As she stood completely motionless, a low, disturbing growl echoed through the woods, and she still cannot explain what she heard. Even more strangely, although she was not moving, the sound of leaves crunching continued around her.
Oh my God.
The audio even sounds like it may have been added later, fueling debate over whether she captured something genuine or staged the scene for attention. One night, a man looked out his window and saw something strange standing near the tree line.
Happened to look out, and I seen the black figure standing in the woods. It creeped me out. I thought maybe it was some person, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized that it was a lot bigger than a normal person would be. And I could see that it had like beady eyes. There were no white parts to the eye. It was just solid black, and it wasn't blinking or anything. It was just staring me down.
Seeing this, instantly, I tell myself, we're looking at a Bigfoot.
They've frequented the house almost every night since then, in some way or another. They're very close to me at all times now. They show up right after the sun goes down, and they leave right as the sun's coming up.
At first he thought it might have been a person, but the longer he watched, the more he realized the figure was much larger than any ordinary human. Its eyes looked entirely black with no visible whites, and it never blinked, only stared back at him silently. The sight immediately made him believe he was seeing a Bigfoot. According to him, similar figures started appearing around his property almost every night afterward, staying nearby until shortly after sunrise. He claimed they always seemed close once darkness settled over the area. He managed to film the creature several times, but never from close enough to capture clear details. Whenever he tried to move toward it, the figure quickly backed away and disappeared into the woods, never letting him get a better look, before vanishing for good again into the darkness. In 2020, a highway camera in Washington captured a large upright figure walking through the snow near a tree line. Its size and stride matched familiar Bigfoot descriptions. Around that same time, residents reported seeing strange creatures at night, adding more intrigue to the video. Since no follow-up investigation was done, the footage remains mysterious and unexplained. A man was walking through the woods at dusk when he noticed two glowing eyes staring at him from behind some bushes. Although many animals reflect light after dark, the size, position, and fixed stare suggested something bigger and more deliberate than ordinary wildlife. Whether it was just a nocturnal animal or something stranger remains unknown. In the mountains near Marshall, North Carolina, a neighbor went outside to record an eclipse, but captured something much stranger instead. The sound did not match any bird they recognized, and its call cut sharply through the rest of the forest noise. Online people debated it, with some suspecting Bigfoot, while others thought it sounded like a gibbon. This footage, filmed in Czechoslovakia in 2015, shows a man walking through the forest. As he pushed deeper inside, he started hearing a strange sound, something like an animal cry, but not exactly a howl, bark, or growl. From the noise alone, it seemed obvious whatever made it was large. Instead of leaving, he went toward it and found broken branches and huge, deep footprints shaped like enlarged human feet, suggesting something extremely heavy. As the sound moved closer, he wisely chose to stop his hike. After the video was uploaded, theories ranged from Dogman and Bigfoot to a human-eating troll, while others suggested wind, though that idea did not explain the tracks. In the end, he was fortunate to leave before meeting whatever created the sound. In Argentina, a farmer saw something moving through his otherwise empty fields and began filming. The figure moved upright and appeared covered in hair, unlike any wildlife native to the area. With no zoos nearby, the chance of an escaped animal seemed unlikely. After he posted the footage online, debate quickly spread, and some in the American paranormal community called it Bigfoot, despite Argentina having no earlier reports. How it appeared there remains unknown. Bear and Brendan spent 2 complete days deep in the Appalachian Mountains looking for the legendary Bigfoot and Mothman. As they moved farther into the dense forest, they found several abandoned bunkers concealed under layers of overgrowth remains of structures forgotten long ago. The woods stayed eerily silent until a sudden unsettling noise broke the stillness, suggesting that something large was moving close by.
Possible. Oh, shh. Do you hear that? Over here. Yeah. What? What are you doing? Did you just...
Hell yeah.
What happened?
We were walking and somebody else sounded like was walking towards us first.
Really?
Something cracked, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to take my hoodie down because I can't hear as good.
Yeah, dude, that's what I heard. Like how that stick just cracked?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened up here.
This is the bunker. Right there's the bunker. There's the hill. Okay.
Ooh,
What?
bunker.
Yeah.
God.
What?
Hear that?
By the bunker?
Yeah, another snap behind it.
Okay, shh. Well, because I think we could find the path there, but I almost don't like turning my back on whatever is over here then, if you think something's here. Okay, just keep our ears open.
They paused to listen, hearing another sharp snap, this time nearer, as though something heavy had stepped on a branch just beyond sight. The 2 men grew increasingly careful, realizing something appeared to be circling them, keeping just out of view. They tried following the sound's source, but found nothing definite.
What is that sound? Listen. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Does it sound like a ton of wings?
Sounds like a dragonfly's wings flapping real fast.
But there was like a whole herd of them or something. Like this whole, yeah, like that whole patch right there. I still hear it.
Me too.
It's getting louder.
It's getting louder. I don't like it.
That is a strange frickin' sound, man. And it gets louder. Okay, start making your way back. I don't know what that is, but it's taking up a lot.
Only additional snapped twigs and disturbed areas of ground leading nowhere. Later, the forest became tense again as another wave of strange noises echoed around them. This time, it sounded like a powerful rush of wing beats, almost like countless insect wings beating quickly together, filling the air with a deep vibration. The bizarre sound moved across a nearby section of forest, becoming louder, as if whatever created it was coming closer. Uneasy, they slowly started backing away, trying not to turn their backs on the area. The noise kept building, carrying an unnatural weight, as though displacing a surprising amount of air for something unseen. Despite trying twice to track the source, they never located any creature or confirmed what had been following them. A man driving through an area known for Sasquatch activity noticed something strange. A tree sharply bent and lodged behind another one. By itself, it might not seem important, but because the region has a long history of Bigfoot reports, some believe the formation could mean something. One side says only Bigfoot could bend a tree that way, while others think it simply grew that way naturally. What do you think? A calm, snow-covered mountainside suddenly becomes disturbing when the camera moves and reveals something unexpected: a tall, dark, hairy figure standing upright among the trees, matching familiar Bigfoot descriptions. Supporters point out that the white snow creates contrast, making it difficult to write the figure off as a shadow or fallen tree, while its bipedal stance is noticeable. Winter sightings are rare, but often considered more believable since harsh conditions make hoaxes harder to stage. The filmer's genuine reaction adds weight, though skeptics remain unconvinced. What do you think of this footage? Mausargi is a YouTube channel known for daring off-grid expeditions and fearless trips into isolated places. Mo, the creator, has earned a reputation as a reliable figure for viewers looking to escape everyday life and experience raw wilderness adventures. His videos often take audiences deep into forests, abandoned buildings, and frozen mountains as he searches for cryptids, examines paranormal claims, and tests the limits of outdoor survival.
Sergeants, welcome back to our first winter camping video in the RV motorhome in the middle of...
During one of his intense winter camping trips, Mo travels into icy forests and mountain terrain to look for Bigfoot. Even with sub-zero conditions around -5 degrees Celsius, he stays determined. At one point, he stops beside a frozen stretch of land to judge whether the ice can support his weight.
Doing tonight is Bigfoot hunting. This area has had Bigfoot sightings a lot lately and people have been talking about it. So we are actually going to be spending the night.
The area has recently attracted attention because of reported Bigfoot sightings, and Mo intends to remain overnight for the investigation. Although the day is not the coldest he has faced, he remains careful. The quiet landscape is suddenly broken by a distant growl echoing through the woods. He pauses and listens closely, but the sound never comes again, leaving an uneasy uncertainty hanging in the air.
Way out there. What the? Huh? That was a weird noise.
Mo wonders whether the noise could have come from a moose, yet it feels unfamiliar and unusually primitive. As time goes on, his friend Chris starts building another shelter, even though one is already available. At one point, Mo spots something strange in the sky where no aircraft should appear. He remembers a previous incident involving unusual drones in New Jersey and questions whether something similar could be happening here. Remaining alert.
What happened? You heard something?
I heard something.
He and Chris search both the woods and the sky for anything that seems out of place. Hours into their trip, they find footprints scattered through the snow. Mo had passed through that area earlier, yet several prints are clearly not his own. They follow the tracks toward a nearby trail.
So look, I see footprints, I think over there.
Where?
Continuing on, but we're actually literally in the lake right now.
Until they suddenly stop, suggesting whoever made the prints had turned back. The abrupt end of the trail raises the possibility that whatever left them became startled or changed direction quickly. Mo and Chris eventually arrive at the edge of a frozen lake and discuss whether crossing is safe.
Just take it one step at a time, but just to show you guys, this is all ice. Yeah. We could have brought skates and skated this. Oh. Dude, that would be cool.
Mo checks the stability by stepping carefully onto the ice. Once he feels certain the surface can hold them, they continue ahead, keeping near the edge for safety. Although they ease the mood by joking about how cautious they are, the danger of the ice breaking remains real. Believing the water under the ice is shallow, they cross slowly, one step at a time.
Look at this. Next video, skating on a lake.
While recording the surroundings, Mo pans across the frozen lake and sees a faraway figure standing upright on the ice. The figure is visible only briefly before disappearing. Its vanishing is immediately followed by a deep resonating sound that carries across the lake.
We're about middle of the lake now.
The combination of the sighting and the noise raises the tension sharply. Moving across an icy lake at night becomes mentally draining as darkness and falling snow distort Mo's sense of direction. When they finally get back to camp, Mo finds something even more troubling: huge footprints circling their RV that were not there before.
You heard that?
The tracks are far larger than any humans and go around the entire site. Mo and Chris cannot understand how markings that large went unnoticed earlier. A closer look reveals at least 2 separate sets of prints, suggesting multiple large beings may have crossed the ice while they were away.
Yeah, look at all these prints. Oh my god. Right by our, dude, that's right by our freaking campsite.
Oh my god.
There's the RV right there. And look at all these.
The discovery increases the unease as the prints, the strange growl, and the unidentified figure on the lake together suggest that something significant happened while they were gone. Mo's expedition shows the unpredictable nature of winter wilderness exploration and how quickly a normal investigation can turn toward fear and uncertainty. Whether the tracks and sounds belong to a real creature or are simply part of the unresolved mysteries of remote landscapes,